Hello sinners, saints, my fellow ribs, and the glories of men. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about something. Let's be brutally honest. How to find your Tradwife. I get a lot of people asking me, so how do I find my particular gal? Which I think is an honourable and fantastic pursuit, but I think there are a few essential steps that need to be done beforehand, and we'll get to those. But first, the best place to find a Tradwife, if we're being completely honest and cheesy, is of course at church. Why is that? It's because a good, solid, conservative Christian church will often press on the virtues that are also important in a Tradwife. For example, you're looking for someone that ideally is mentored by an older godly woman who has lots of experience and submits to her own husband, whether that be her mum or another older woman, someone who you want to see her become or who she wants to kind of become, a future version of herself. On top of that, the church is a fantastic place that you'll have a greater chance of finding someone who's a little bit more traditionally minded and has a bit more of a biblical, godly, conservative worldview. Trying to find a Tradwife at a left-wing university is kind of an uphill, futile battle. It's just not the kind of place that she would generally be seen. And if she is, that's something to be questioning and something to delve into in conversation. Women can change, women can grow, women can transform. But when looking for a woman, your ideal is to have someone as close to that already as possible. Because there's danger in looking for someone over here if your ideal woman is over here. On top of that, a church is incredibly important because it's a community that holds you accountable to those traditional ideals, worldviews, and approaches to life. It's very easy to become solo in non-intergenerational communities. You can just move cities and disappear completely. Of course, you can do that while attending church as well, but it's a little bit harder and you're less likely to have people call up after trying to check in on you. But if we're completely honest, the best way to find a Tradwife is to be a man deserving of a Tradwife. To find your Tradwife, you first have to be a trad husband. And I think this is a thing that a lot of men miss when looking for a gal. They're like, I want this of her. Not realizing that in order to be worthy of those qualifications, they also need to be qualified themselves. So, what are some of those qualifications? If you want to be a trad husband, you got to be ready to be the sole provider. Either be working on your career or means to be able to secure provision for your family. Well, if you're a Christian, you should know this, that to be unable to provide for your household is to make you worse than an unbeliever. Number 2, you should be working toward a home, security, a place for your family to live and stay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It may be an apartment for a short time. But as the provider of the household, you also need to provide a house. And if you're not working toward that goal, it's probably signaling to women that you aren't ready to actually have a family and take on all the responsibilities, joys, and privileges of being married. Self-discipline, mentally and physically. Too often, men, well, to be honest, more brutally honest, boys want to be married, want the benefits and privileges of marriage, but do not realize the discipline that it takes in order to get there. Not only getting up early in the morning to be able to go and provide for your family, but being intentional while you're at work to go above and beyond in the work that you are doing in order to potentially put your family in a greater position in the future. Marriage, fatherhood, and husbandry require high levels of discipline, and that should show itself mentally, and that should also show itself physically as well. You should be physically disciplined. That doesn't mean that you have to have a 6 set of abs, though that would definitely play in your favor. But it does mean that you can't be a slob. And you shouldn't be a skinny slob, and you shouldn't be a fat slob. You should be someone who is physically disciplined in order that the rare chance is that you have to protect your family, because it is very hard for women to be attracted to someone who cannot physically protect her. There are exceptions, of course, but you're not just wanting any gal, you're wanting a specific woman to be married to. Fourth, virtuous, and this can display itself in many ways: kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control, faithfulness. These are the virtues that make a man attractive to women. Doesn't mean that you have to be a pussy. Doesn't mean that you have to be a stopover, but show some chivalry, show some respect, show some honor, cut back on the swearing. Like, these are basic things. These are 101 things and requirements for someone who is seeking to be a husband. On top of that, not enslaved to anything major. Of course, we all have our vices and we all have the things that trip us up. What's important is to be aware of it and be putting them to death. So, for example, why are you looking for a woman while still addicted to porn? That should not be like it shouldn't even be a conversation. If you are still struggling with this thing, you first need to get rid of that, get on top of that, and get it done and out of your life. If you're addicted to gambling, drinking, vaping, I don't know, any kind of other major vice that would put a future family of yours at risk, you shouldn't even be considering the conversation of potentially finding a wife. You should first be working on that. And finally, I think it's important to say, just don't be a creep. Learn how to talk in social situations. Learn how to talk in social circles. No one is perfect. To be honest, pretty much everyone feels awkward all the time unless you're with friends that you're well accustomed to. But don't come off creepy. Don't do that. Learn how to be socially aware and navigate social circumstances and situations well. So those are my main messages for someone who is seeking to find their Tradwife. I wish you all the best. Is there anything I missed? Of course, there's a long list, but I think those are definitely the bare essentials. Let me know down below. Anyway, grace and peace from our Lord and Saviour, and I'll see you tomorrow.